Hey, this is Kahja Elliott, Bronx born and raised, ATL made, Bay Area becoming, and this is the As Told By podcast. Yes, welcome to this week's episode of the As Told By podcast. This is Kahja Elliott, host of the As Told By podcast. And this is one of my favorite episodes of the season because this is the artist spotlight episode. So if you've been listening to the podcast from the beginning, you know season 1 was Champ Green. Season 2 was Monty Draper. Season 3 was Soul Lauren. And what they all have in common is they are all musicians. They record music. They are the artists. But for this season, I wanted to take it behind the scenes and talk to somebody who's part of the creation of music. So I have here a tech founder, music producer, a mechanical engineer, and one of the world's top Talkbox artists with over 11 million records sold, bearing their credits, helping to enhance the careers of artists such as Kanye West, Drake, Tupac, E40, Limp Bizkit, J. Cole, and many more. Welcome Bosko Kante to season 4's Artist Spotlight episode of the As Told By podcast.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here. Excited to get into some background and stories.
Yeah. That's a bio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got a few things that I've done, and when I look back on it, it's impressive.
It is impressive.
It's it's like, wow, I can't believe I did all of this stuff, and I still feel like I'm just getting started. It just in the sense of there's so many things that I want to learn and do, and I'm always excited when I get up. Like, oh man, how do I figure this out? How do I learn this new thing? Who can I meet? There's all kinds of artists and technologists and social, impact organization leaders that I want to meet and learn from. So, yeah, and I love to play my ElectroSpit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
So there's always that.
I love it. So that gives y'all a little bit of preview about Bosko's footprint in music. So look, we're going to get started at the beginning. I have to say, I met you organically through your wife, Maya. Shout out, girl, to Maya Kante.
Yes.
But that's how I met you. And I had no clue, right? I had no clue. Mm-hmm. And then, we talked briefly at a few events where we ran into each other. And then when I started thinking about who I wanted to talk to for this episode, and I was doing my research, I had no clue of the breadth and the depth of your career. So I'm so glad to be able to talk to you and to find out a little bit more. So
thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk to someone on the production side because as much as the actual artist, your role is so deeply connected to creating an identity around a piece of music. So how do you approach working in harmony with musicians so that your production is a complement to what they do?
It's a great question. When I have the time to really focus in with an artist, I like to get to know them first. And I think of myself as a storyteller, assisting an artist in telling their story. And the better that I know them, the more accurately I can help them portray that. So if we can hang out, I can hear about their childhood, what their feelings are, what are the things they love, what music inspired them. That gives me ideas. So then when I'm crafting the music itself, I can bring that into the music. I can help. Like I think of myself also like a director in a film. When the artist is performing, they may have written the story a certain way, but does their performance also convey like the how loud and how energetic or how mellow it is, does that also convey the song and them as an artist properly on the record? So, maybe it like, oh, let's do it again. Let's put more energy into it. This particular part, I want you to, lay back a little bit, or whatever the direction is. I feel like one of my strong points is helping artists, helping direct them to achieve what is best for the song and for them as an artist.
I like that because I'm not a musician, so I don't know this to be true. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I get the feeling that so much music is created in pieces. And maybe that's just the technology of it all, like in pieces, and people are in separate places, and then you just put it together. So it could be difficult to get a feel for what you just said.
That's right. So that's why I said when I get that opportunity. Now, it used to be back in the day, that was always how you did it. You were always in the same room with the artists, and they were recording, and you got to direct them. But now it's only kind of the special circumstances when I get to sit down, in the same room with people and have that transfer of energy. But I still believe that's the best way. Sometimes you can do a little bit of that over a video call, even over the phone. Somebody will send you their performance on a song, and then I'll say, hey, this is great, but can you add this, or what if you change this part to enhance it? And then there's things that you can do digitally now to change records. So there's still ways to get what you want. Without having to pay for a plane ticket
and get all up in people's face.
Yeah.
So
I'm hearing some like in and out, and I just want to make sure it's not.
If you pull a little bit closer, or you can pull your mic just a little bit closer if you want to sit back.
Okay.
Sometimes that happens to me too. Sometimes as I go back and forth.
Well, yeah, I just the sound in my ears was cutting in and out, and I just want to make sure that the audio is good. I don't know if you want to check it real quick or something. Or
I'm no engineer.
Okay,
this is a plug and play, but in my headphones,
it sounds good.
It sounds good.
Okay,
I'm not hearing any breaks.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure if you're hearing it in your headphones, then it's probably fine. I just wanted to make sure you don't want to do like an hour interview and you go back and
we can't hear it.
Like everything is I said what.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
No, look,
absolutely.
It hasn't. And look, it must be the law of averages. But no, in the headphones I can hear you good. Okay, so I think we should be good.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Okay, just double checking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is what happens when you get professionals to come up here and they like the sound is off. Check that.
Yeah.
Right.
Make sure.
We good. Okay. I'm gonna leave that in, Bosko.
Okay. Cool.
So you are born in Accra, Ghana.
Yes.
Which is super interesting. How long did you live there? Is that where your family origins are? And how did your family come to be in California?
So my mom was in the Peace Corps way back in the day, and she went to Ghana to help, and she was teaching English to students, and she met my dad, and they got married. And then they came to the United States, which my mom was from Portland, so they went there, met my grandparents. I think they met my grandparents and then got married. The order wrong, but
she didn't do a surprise.
No, it wasn't. Right. It definitely wasn't a surprise. I know that. But then they went back to Ghana. Then my mom got pregnant, and then after she had me, they moved back to Portland not too long after. So I was only there, for a year or less.
Okay.
As a baby. My dad ended up moving back to Ghana later when I was like 5. My parents split up. And he's been coming back and forth since then, which is a long time. I have a couple of sisters in Ghana and a couple of sisters that live out here. So definitely connected.
Okay.
To Ghana. I've been back a couple of times. I need to get back soon.
Yeah.
To visit. I got a house out there up in Tamale, which is in the northern part of Ghana. And, you know, Ghana is coming up right now. There's all kinds of concerts and a real effort to bring Black people from the diaspora back to invest, to participate in what's happening in Ghana. It's a great, great country.
Yeah, I heard this whole, I don't want to call it a campaign, but you would hear it a lot within maybe the last 5 or 6 years, the year of return, right?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Global Citizen was there. Like, you have all of this convergence of Black Americans and from other countries too, I'm sure, but Black Americans specifically having that return experience and having it specifically in Ghana.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the best, you know, strongest economies and the safest places in Africa, and I feel like some of the warmest, you know, people, you know, it's a great place.
I haven't been, so I've been to Morocco. That's as far as I've been on the continent, but I need to go.
Yes, you do. I need to go to Morocco though.
Yeah. Morocco was a whole vibe.
All right.
It was a whole vibe. Okay, so born in Ghana, you are raised here in Portland or in California?
I grew up I'm sorry, I didn't answer the rest of the question.
That's okay.
I was so born in Ghana. We moved to Portland when I was a baby. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, which people are like, there's no Black people in Portland.
Oh, and sure there
are. There are some. You know, there were enough Black people that I grew. I was in hip hop culture growing up. I went to a predominantly Black high school, and did pop music, and, you know, and played in bands, and I was breakdancing and popping and all this kind of stuff growing up. So there were enough for some Black culture to be there, but it's not, you know, it's not the same as living in Atlanta or in Ghana or something. But then I got a full ride academic scholarship to go to the University of Southern California.
Okay, so wait a minute, because I read that you graduated valedictorian and went to USC.
Yes.
You better come on, Bosko.
Yes, I was a straight A student all through high school. Always loved math and science, but I also did well in other subjects. And I was doing sports too. I was city champ in the long jump and triple jump.
You're doing all the things.
Played on the basketball team. Ended up walking on the basketball team at USC. I didn't get, you know, a scholarship, but I already had a scholarship, academic. But I walked and played. We had a great team. We were number 4 in the country. So that was super fun. And I decided to go to USC because it was the home. Los Angeles was the home of the music business. And I had a dream. It was just a dream, or just a kind of an idea, like I would love to do, you know, get into the music business, but it wasn't like I'm definitely going to be in the music business. I'm definitely going to be a mechanical engineer, and maybe I can do some music. That's where I was.
Okay, because that's what I'm wondering as you tell this story. So you get a full ride scholarship to USC, and you're a student athlete. Your scholarship, and you're studying mechanical engineering.
Yes.
How does that become music production? Did someone just offer you an opportunity? Did you have friends that were already in the industry, or where did you even find that?
My whole family is musical. You know, my mom plays French horn. My grandmother played trumpet. My grandfather played piano. My great grandfather had a dance band in Portland, Oregon. So the whole musical side of my family, and they're also math people. Like my grandmother was a math professor and an electrical engineer. My mom's a civil engineer, and she was a math professor as well. So I had all of this math and all of this music, and I was I started making beats in like 8th grade. I won a set of turntables in a breakdancing contest, and then I started DJing. I used the money from DJing to buy a drum machine. Then I bought a computer, and I was using sequencers and making beats with making songs with all the neighborhood kids, doing talent shows and all that. So I was definitely doing music all the time before college. And it's while I was in college, I met this guy named, I don't. We'll be here all night if I go too deep. But just I met a guy named Traysky, DJ Traysky. He was a world DMC mixing champ, and we started making beats together. And he was the DJ for In Living Color. They asked him to make a new version of the theme song, but all of his music was sample based. So he was like, using other records, and they couldn't use any samples in the actual record. So he said, Bosko, why don't you come help me work on this record? We did it together. They chose it. If you hear the Living Color theme song in Living Color, you hear me laughing at the beginning. This big laugh.
I'm going to go back and listen.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's the whole intro to the show. And, man, we got a bunch of money, enough, more than I had ever seen, either of us had ever seen. And
the big leagues.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. I can be a music producer. I thought I was going to be a mechanical engineer, but I just got this big check, and I'm on a #1 television show. I'm going to be a music producer, and I did it.
Because, listen, we all know, those of us who are listening who are of a certain age, we all know what Living Color was. Yeah. At the time it was in production. So you produced, it was that second version. How you living? What? How you living? What? How you living in Living Color?
If you hear, I can't even really do it right now. The laugh you hear the laugh at the beginning, but yeah, that part is in it. And we played all of the new music, and all of these. It was kind of like a transition from like New Jack Swing to this more hip hop jazz kind of a style. So all these saxophones are flying in, and we're scratching on the record, and I'm soloing on the organ. It was crazy, man. I got to go up to the to Fox with Jamie Foxx and J-Lo was up there.
Wow.
Jim Carrey, all of these big stars, that were kind of getting their start at the time. It was kind of a magical moment, and that just really launched my career. It was a turning point for me in deciding that I wanted to be a music producer for sure, professionally. I got my degree, graduated cum laude.
All right.
And then I just started producing. And one of the first record I did was Volume 10, the Where's the Sniper. But then I did the remix to Pay Styles for Too Short, and the remix to Sprinkle Me. So if you look on the E40 Sprinkle Me, if you have the cassette or the CD or
the
vinyl,
liner notes,
you look on there, you're gonna see Bosko on there, and I got my first gold record for that In a Major Way album.
Nice.
I flew up to meet E40 at his gold album release, gold album party. And we've been rocking ever since.
We're going to get into that because all the people you've worked with, we definitely are going to talk about that a bit. But so you graduate, you're now kind of launched, right, into the real side, right, the big side of the music business, but you have this background in engineering. So fast forward now to Zoo Labs and the process of leveraging your background in electrical engineering to come up with and develop ElectroSpit. And as y'all heard in the beginning, ElectroSpit is what most people probably associate with like Roger Troutman, Computer Love, funk music, the 70s that really revolutionized a particular 80s. Yeah, maybe the late 70s, but the 80s definitely. But ElectroSpit really revolutionized the process through innovation, going from a bigger Talkbox to a wearable device and an app that can achieve the same sound. So talk a bit about how the idea started and then how you found your way into Zoo Labs.
So I was playing the Talkbox on a lot of my production, and people started to call me not just for my production, but for the Talkbox specifically. And in one record in particular, Kanye, I did a friend of mine called me to come do Talkbox on a record with Kanye and T.I. called Let Me Tell You Something. And in the studio, Kanye was just like in love with what I was doing on the Talkbox. So he said, hey, can you come to New York? And I'm working on my new album. Can you jump on there? We went into the studio, him and I and John Legend, and we came up with the new workout plan, which was
that's right. Put it work. Yeah. Move your ass. Go berserk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's up.
And then I put a part in that song that goes, work out for me, work out for me.
Classic.
Which turned, also was later sampled and turned into J. Cole's workout, and J. Cole's workout from the new workout plan. But playing that instrument, originally it was the Talkbox, which had a tube that you have a keyboard. That synthesizer goes into an amp and goes from the amp into a speaker, and then from the speaker is inside of a box, and then it goes through a tube and then it's piped into your mouth. And so there's all of these pieces, and it's complicated and it's not portable. So when Kanye asked me to come perform the song live with him on the American Music Awards, I couldn't do it live. I had to lip sync, which sucked because I wanted to be out there just freestyling. I was feeling kind of like, self-conscious, like I'm not able to really get down how I wanted to. And so the idea was sparked. Could I make something portable that would require all these pieces? Fast forward, moved to Oakland. Bay Area is the home of technology.
Yes.
Met Vanitha. Well, I give a shout out. My homeboy Cool Nuts from Portland, my best friend, introduced me to Chief XL from Black Alicious. He said, come on down to Zoo Labs. Introduced me to Vanitha Watson. Vanitha said, you should be part of our accelerator. Why don't you apply? I said, well, I got an idea for this portable Talkbox. Went through the accelerator, talked about, learned about design thinking, futures thinking. And one of the components of future thinking is when you're building a business, you want to think about what the industry is going to be like, or the market is going to be like in the future, in 5 years, because you can't compete against companies that are already existing with resources.
Scale.
Yes. Today. But they have to deal with the present. You can compete with them in the future where they don't exist in the future the same way. So I thought about what is the Talkbox going to be like in the future, and we decided, well, it's going to be like you use it with your mobile phone. It's going to be portable. You'll be able to change your voice in any way, and transform your voice into different people. And here we are in the future, and all of these things are possible. And because we thought about those things back then, we have a product already in the market ready to
meet the moment.
So that was a huge part of learning, a very important part of the accelerator. And thank you, Zoo Labs, for that tip. And we created the prototype. We did a Kickstarter in 2018, launched it, went viral. Just Blaze shared it. David Guetta got wind of it, got really excited about it. Ended up doing a record with David Guetta. Ended up, and I don't know if this is I'm spoiling other questions.
It's okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
but yeah, it just took off. Stevie Wonder used it.
Stevie Wonder.
Yes, I'll just okay. So the way we got to Stevie Wonder, I was just dreaming and posted on Instagram on a Friday. I replayed. He has this song. Why do birds suddenly appear? He played that on the Talkbox. So I did a duet with him on the ElectroSpit and posted it. And in the caption, I said, man, wouldn't it be amazing if I could do this with Stevie?
What?
And someone hit this guy, Mike Phillips. I had never met him. He hit me on the DMs and said, hey, I want to try out this device. It looks amazing. And I said, well, there's only one of them. So you got to meet me here in Oakland. He said, well, I'm not going to be, in Oakland for a while, but I'm going to be in San Francisco on Monday. Can we meet there? And it's like, yeah, we can meet. I'll meet you in San Francisco. And he said, yeah, I'm playing with Stevie Wonder. I'm in his band. And would you like to show it to him too? Like, hell yeah. Is that a question? So the Monday after I posted, I'm in the hotel room with Stevie Wonder.
Unreal.
He is playing the ElectroSpit. He's playing his classic songs on the ElectroSpit. He's playing I played him some of my music. He instantly started playing that on the ElectroSpit. If you look on my Instagram, you'll see a picture of me standing next to Stevie with him in that moment playing the ElectroSpit, and I have the biggest smile I think I've ever had in my whole life. It's like, yeah, I think it's the second biggest. I give the biggest one was me when I got married. So with Maya, that's the biggest. But it was such an incredible moment. I mean,
that is an incredible moment. It's like a fan out moment because you're there in a professional capacity.
Yes.
But you're a fan. It's Stevie Wonder.
Fan. He's the greatest of all time.
It's crazy.
So yeah, this instrument has taken me some amazing places, and that's one of my favorites. And then so a year later he ended up using it to create the 50th anniversary theme song of Sesame Street. And
wow.
Yeah, so I have some footage on my Instagram again of him playing the ElectroSpit on that record with Sesame Street.
I love how you are just inadvertently finding yourself in these little pieces of cultural history.
Yes.
Right?
I'm like the Forrest Gump of the Talkbox.
That's a good analogy. Just find yourself somewhere with a Talkbox.
Yep.
Like a lot of entrepreneurs, you found yourself in the thick of producing ElectroSpit when COVID hit.
Yes.
Right? And then being forced to reimagine your process given the constraints on global supply chains. Yes. Which ended up creating conditions to make it where you had to bring this to life right here in Oakland.
That's right. So we right after we raised money on the Kickstarter, I flew to China. I went to Shenzhen and saw the assembly lines, talked to some of the manufacturing companies. So we were all set to manufacture in China. This was the end of 2019. Mm-hmm. And so I get back and they're supposed to deliver in September. It's like, well, it's not going to be ready until October. It's like, okay. Another call, their email, it's not going to be ready until November. It's like, oh man, that's kind of, all of these customers are waiting. Oh, it's not going to be ready until January. And then so they have Chinese New Year. Mm-hmm. Chinese New Year happens in January, February, and everything shuts down for 2 months or a month and a half. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, we're not sure if we're going to make it before Chinese New Year, so it might not be done until March. This is all I'm getting this information at the end of 2019. So I said, man, I guess we're going to have to let's manufacture here. Shout out to Zoo Labs. They opened up their facility and allowed us to manufacture right here in Oakland at Zoo Labs. And it was a big leap of faith for me. I had never manufactured anything before. So we had to, set up an entire assembly line. We had 21 artists that a lot of them had no prior electronic assembly experience or whatever, that we were teaching how to manufacture these devices. I was learning how to set up an assembly line, getting all kinds of mentorship and assistance from folks who had done it before, and made it happen. We started shipping the device, built right here in Oakland, California, in March 2020.
All right.
And I guess you guys know what happened.
Screwed. That's what happened.
We won the Guthman Award, which is like the Grammys of musical instruments, in March 8th. And that was the last trip that we took right before everything shut down. And it was tough. It was a tough time. I was like in the building by myself. with an empty warehouse, all of these units half assembled. Like, what are we gonna do? Shout out to Runway, who was a huge support during that time, you know, inspiring, being part of this community of entrepreneurs. That the Runway family is an incredible organization, nonprofit that supports entrepreneurs with friends and family funding, and they funded ElectroSpit, but they also have peer support. They had universal basic income that they provided to entrepreneurs during the pandemic.
That's important.
An incredible organization. The founder, Jessica Norwood, is actually having her book release party at Hiii Wav, which I'll talk about maybe a little bit later. But tomorrow. But anyway, in that moment, we had to just persevere and push through it. Shout out to Zoo Labs for letting me stay in the building and manufacture myself a lot of units and ship out units. But we stayed alive and we got those things out by the end of the year, and we had a really big year in 2020.
And such a rampway to it, right? That's a lot to have to manage to get a product to end users, but you did it.
Yes.
And in line
with no money.
Well, I thought you had the Kickstarter.
We raised $120,000 to build a consumer electronics product. We spent like $50,000 just on the promotion of that Kickstarter itself, and we easily, you know, I wasn't getting paid. I was paying, you know, some of our team was volunteering. It was like, you know, we were putting everything we had to I didn't want to disappoint the customers, the people that had put the money in.
Bought in.
Yes. And so once we shipped all of the units, which was by November of 2020, it felt like such a load off of me. Like,
I met my commitment.
People were online saying, "Oh, it's a fraud. They're just taking your money. Don't trust these guys."
Wow.
All the while, I'm like using rent money to buy parts to make sure that we could deliver. It was crazy.
It's the entrepreneur's journey.
Yeah.
People don't see. They see the iceberg tip. You know that
right.
You know, that story of the iceberg tip, but they don't see all the motion underneath trying to get a product out to consumers. And like you said, when you do Kickstarter and you've taken people's money and feeling the responsibility of delivering on what you've promised. So
I have a reputation, you know. I didn't want to see those folks in the street like,
because you know the Bay Area is not that big. Right. So you run into people just like, damn, here we go.
And just, you know, I set out to do it, and you know, I want to always honor my word and my promises. And there is a situation where that doesn't make sense, you know. In some, you know, you shouldn't kill yourself to deliver, you know, a product. And sometimes you can take these things too far, but I probably took it too far. But I didn't want to not, you know, have this product come out after all of the years of work and the people that believed in me to be able to get that far. And, you know, so now it's really gratifying to be able to look back at that process and say, hey, we went from this idea to this prototype made out of PVC pipe and bubble gum and toothpicks to this product that's used by Stevie Wonder. That's that's everything.
That's everything. And then flipping that, right, having been the beneficiary of so much support from these amazing organizations, Runway and Zoo Labs, and you, along with your wife, Maya, flipped that into Hiii Wav.
That's right.
So talk about what Hiii Wav is and what the mission is at Hiii Wav.
Absolutely. So during the pandemic, when we were going through all of these challenges and also experiencing this support from Zoo Labs, which was incredible, using the space, connecting us with resources and technical assistance, and Runway having a community of support where we could get the emotional support and some financial support that we needed to continue. You know, we realized that other musicians, especially, you know, when the George Floyd was murdered, and it was just evident that we wanted to do more ourselves for other artists and especially Black musicians. And we created the Black Music Entrepreneurship Incubator, which was a nonprofit because Zoo Labs decided to pivot to supporting artists directly through funding, but they decided to sell their space. And so artists weren't going to have that space anymore and that support that they needed, at least the physical space part of it. So we wanted to provide that. We went on to raise money for that nonprofit to buy a building. We ended up buying a building, 2781 Telegraph. We raised about $3 million over the course of 2 years. And we have a space right now, Hiii Wav, where we're working with artists. We're supporting over 200 artists. We have a current cohort called Afro AI, where we're teaching artists how to use artificial intelligence to enhance their music, to create new visuals, to build new companies that, you know, the same way that ElectroSpit came out of me being a producer and having fans of my music, and I wanted to empower other artists to use this technology. We're giving other artists the tools and the resources and the network to do the same thing with their fans, their ideas, and it's super rewarding to be able to, you know, pay it forward in the same kinds of resources that we experienced to again turn around and provide that to the Oakland community in particular of Black artists and incredible artists, so many incredible artists.
Incredible artists. Grand National is one of the folks who have come through. The collective of Grand National has come through Hiii Wav.
That's
and
right.
If you're here in the Bay, if you're not in the Bay, I strongly suggest get on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all the things, and check them out. But they really have been a huge part of revolutionizing hip hop music in the Bay Area. So dope that they've been able to partner with you.
Absolutely. And so we rebranded from the Black Music Entrepreneurship Incubator to Hiii Wav, which is still a Black Music Entrepreneurship Incubator. It's just Hiii Wav looks better on the t-shirt.
Come on, branding.
There's a lot of reasons we changed. Shout out to BBMG, an incredible branding agency that helped us come up with the name and the all of the assets, the logo, the design, and, you know, which is a really important part of helping you like visualize what the future is going to be of your company. And they were an integral part of making that happen. So when you see Hiii Wav, you know, it embodies that journey that we had of technology and futurism, Afrofuturism, and how do we help make sure that our folks are in that future. That's what Afrofuturism means to me, is that Black people are thriving in the future, and we're doing everything we can to support that vision.
Yeah. I was going to say on the right side of the digital divide, but that there is no divide.
Yeah.
Right? That we are just there, and prominently so.
That's right.
That's what's up. You know, there's been a lot of conversation on the long-term impact of AI on the music industry.
Yes.
As a creative, but also as someone who's clearly leveraged technology in the creative process. Do you think musicians have more to lose or gain as AI becomes increasingly prominent in the creative process?
I think it's so interesting, because when people first saw AI coming, people thought, wow, the only thing that people are going to be able to do is creative work, because AI is going to do everything else, and it's only going to be, you know, creativity that's left. But in what has happened in the past year especially is that AI is great at writing prose, and writing stories, writing song lyrics, at creating pictures, artwork, at duplicating people's voices, all of these things that we didn't see coming. The creative stuff is actually, one of the real strong points. But that being said, it's coming. First of all, it's coming. It's here.
I was about to say it's here.
It's here. So there's no need to try to speculate on what would the world be like if we can stop it. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. But artists have taken technology in the past and turned it into, new creations. We've used technology to our advantage. It can't do everything yet, and you still have to have taste, and people are unpredictable. They will take things in directions that are unexpected and not necessarily like rational. Like one of the things that I've been seeing lately is, we have all of this high definition photo imaging technology. So what's popular right now? Blurry photos. I see people taking something that's hella blurry and it's like, oh, okay, you're going the opposite direction. So, and black people in particular, you think of hip hop. We took turntables and started scratching on the stuff they're not supposed to be used. Yeah. The worst thing for a turntable
to scratching
on the record, and turned it into a whole global phenomenon that is 50 years strong now, that has changed the world. So people thought that the end of music was going to be the records, because it stopped all live music. Well, obviously we're still doing live music, and music just got bigger. People thought the end was going to be downloading and streaming and
Napster. Remember all that?
Now the music business is, at that time the music business was in a bad place. Now it's in a great place in terms of how much revenue is coming into the business as a whole. It's not being distributed in a way that it should be, but at least there's money there. The same thing with synthesizers and drum machines. Like, oh, nobody's going to play real instruments anymore because of these synthesizers and drum machines. Sampling was going to destroy music because people are just copying other songs. And obviously a lot of our favorite songs are samples. And the way they're chopped up, you don't even realize where it came from. So AI is another tool. I say it's a bigger shift than those other things that I just described, but it is not the end. It is not the end of music. It's not the end of creativity. We will put it together in new ways, and the folks that are able to curate it, to be the most creative with it, are going to profit and build, new forms of entertainment that we don't even, realize now. Like instead of building a song in a day, you might build a movie in a day, or a whole radio station, or of all of these different songs that you created. Like the productivity that we can have as artists is multiplied by these tools, but that doesn't mean that we want any less.
Right.
Like oh, now I can have my own custom station. Like I want a Jay-Z and Drake station with all the music played by the Roots, and go.
Just make it up.
Make it up. Make it up, and then boom, you're listening to the whole station, and it's just. But then somebody's gonna say, "Well, I want another station," and they're just our capacity for wanting more stuff is unlimited.
Yeah,
and AI is not going to be able to satisfy that. We're gonna so we'll still need people to build more cool stuff, and Black people are going to be at the forefront of building the cool stuff like we always are.
We are, because if we ain't got nothing else, we got some ingenuity.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Well, you talked a little bit earlier about your experience meeting Stevie Wonder, Living Color. Who are some of the other people that you have worked with that have really stood out in your experience?
I really got a connection with Just Blaze. We have a similar background in terms of like growing up programming computers, and I think he went deeper than me in terms of the, I think he working with early computers and that turning into, all producers for the most part are technical. They're not just artists. They have to know how to work the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really had a connection, and I have a lot of respect for the body of work that he has as a producer. David Guetta, understanding
Huge.
Yeah, I got to work with him on a Bruno Mars Versace on the Floor remix, played Talkbox, and just really understand his workflow, the way he creates records. And it was different. It is different than the way that I work, but it was really interesting that I kind of think of his production style as highlights. Like he'll identify the best moments of music on different records and then figure out how to incorporate those into a new record. That, it may be a sample or it may just be an inspiration that is taken, but that way you're like building a better song from all of these great pieces. And he's obviously been super successful in doing that. And I think that's how DJs think too. Let me play the best part of this record.
The breaks and just pull it all together.
That's right. All the breaks.
I get it.
Yeah. I don't know if you meant, who else did you mention? Did I mention E40?
You did. You talked about E40.
Talked about
so many, but even outside of like the people who you've worked with, even if you haven't worked with them, when I was researching and listening, I don't know why Bollywood music came to the front of my mind. I'm like, that would be so dope. There's an artist, Raja Kumari. She's based out of LA. She's a hip hop artist, but she's of Indian descent. So her music kind of pulls into a lot of that same inspiration. So what are some musical influences or artists that you enjoy that people would be surprised to know are on your list?
Oh, good question. I mean, so I grew up playing trumpet. And so I love like Dizzy Gillespie and this improvising. And then I also grew up listening to Pete Rock, the producer. Yeah. And all of the jazz. He used to sample all the jazz. So I had this whole jazz phase that I went through that connected with me playing jazz. And at that time, the idea of biting, stealing somebody's style was something that no, artist wanted to do. So I would create all of my own melodies. And I think that is something that helped me stand out as a producer because I could improvise, I could play keys, I could do original. That was why I was able to do In Living Colors, because I was making original music while a lot of my peers were sampling. Yeah. I later, I don't have anything against sampling now, but the way that I got into hip hop meant that I had a different skill set that other people don't have. So yeah, I think people might not have appreciate that the musicianship and the jazz element that I incorporate into what turned into a lot of funk, a lot of synthesizer music that you hear on like mob music that I do for E40 is all funk, but it's because I can play keys and improvise and play new bass lines. That is all came out of playing trumpet.
Yeah. It's crazy how these things all go together.
Yeah.
So just to wrap us up, and I'm not going to wrap up without asking him to do like a mini set, right? To just let us, I loved hearing it earlier so much. So we're going to ask him to get on it in a second. But what's something you hope to see come out of the evolving relationship between music and tech?
Well, I think it's really important that artists get ownership, that they and retain ownership. And there's been over the last 30 years, there's been a shift where you used to need a lot of capital to create music. You had to have enough money to get into a studio or have enough money to build a studio. So you're talking $100,000 to make an album or more. And that has come down with technology, all of the recording technology, computer technology, the software from Pro Tools and Logic and Ableton, and then the distribution side also required a lot of money. You had to sign with a major label, and that's changed in terms of you can just upload right to Spotify, using DistroKid or something like that. And so the distance between artists and their fans has gotten a lot shorter. Now, technology is all still trying to, disintermediate that situation and stay in the middle and make sure that
make sure they got a hand in the money.
Yeah, but what I would like to see is it's happening, but I want to see it even more with AI is allowing people to do the artwork, to do video production. It will eventually allow 3D and game production that's based on artist creation. So the amount of capital that's needed for artists to create the entertainment experiences that they imagine, I want to see that go down, and the way that they're compensated right now, to get paid from a song, there's publishing and mechanical royalties and streaming royalties and sync fees, and you have to have like a whole company just to figure out how to track down that money. And it doesn't make sense for an individual. I would like to see that change, and I'm looking for opportunities to help make that transition to where artists don't have to spend so much energy chasing their money. And so when they create something incredible, it takes them less money to make it, and they're able to, and it takes them less money to collect their money. So essentially empowering creators to have to benefit the way they should from their work. Yeah. And making that connection from them to the fan even closer. So that's what I want to see happen in technology, because they're incredible musicians and technologists that have these ideas that they should benefit from. And as long as they're benefiting from those ideas, they'll keep creating the stuff that we love, which is all we really want. We want more of those great songs that we can fall in love to, and ride to down the coast, or get inspired by, or feel sad and reminisce with, all of those, the soundtracks to our lives. And so I just want to do my part to make sure that artists continue to do that, and that they get the value back that they need to continue and to live a life that they deserve.
Yeah. Well, you've done much of your part, right? And so much more, it sounds like, to go. So in a moment, I'll ask you to share where people can find out more information about you, about ElectroSpit, about Hiii Wav. But before we do that, give us like a little mini set of Talkbox.
Yeah, let me get this Talkbox fired up.
Let's hear it.
All right, ElectroSpit Talkbox. So I'll just explain what's happening, since you might not be able to see it. So the sound is coming out of my phone, and it sounds like this. Let me see. Get this going.
It looks just like a headset. I had a fan on around my neck the other day that looks almost like the same thing. It definitely is not the same, but it's so lightweight.
Okay, so when you hear that buzz, it comes out of my phone. It goes through this ElectroSpit ESX1 that looks like a set of headphones, and then you hear the buzz is louder. Goes through my neck and out of my mouth, and then I make that into words. So I'm not actually singing. I'm totally silent, and when I press the key on the phone, the sound comes out of the and you can, oh yeah.
This is great. I love it. Wait, so you're not singing?
I'm not singing at all. I'm just silent. All of the sound is coming out of the ElectroSpit chair. And that's how I make this sound like do 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 do. Work out for me, work out for me. Yeah.
I love it.
Let me see.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me see. Tonight, I just wanna take you higher. Throw your hands up in the sky and let's set this party up right. Ooh,
Okay, wait. Y'all should see my mouth hanging open. Because this is like a phone in what looks like a headset.
yes.
And it's creating all of this like right in front of my eyes. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you. I honestly never believed that this was possible at the beginning. When we first came up with this, I'm like, I was a doubter of my own.
Like a lot
project.
of times we be, right?
Like this phone, you can't make a real like song with the phone, and it's not gonna sound like the real Talkbox. And it didn't. At first, it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But step by step, well, what if we change the sound and make it boost it up a little bit in the phone, and what if we use a different kind of amplifier, and what if instead of one driver we use two drivers, and then we can change the technology, and what if you can make it press against your neck tighter in this way and change the shape. And this happened over time, all these incremental changes, and it started to sound better and better. It's like, okay, this is something. And then I learned how to play it too. That helps. So because I didn't grow up playing the phone because there weren't phones to play. Mm-hmm. But I came up with a way to play the phone and played it enough, making all these Instagram videos that I got pretty good.
Yeah. I'm so proud and so glad that we here in the Bay Area get to have you here, right, with us, even though this goes around the world, right?
Yes,
but you're here and creating opportunities for musicians here, and we're so glad for it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I love the Bay, even though I'm not from the Bay technically, but I've been rocking with the Bay since forever. I feel like it's West Coast. Mm-hmm. Portland. We grew up listening to lots of Bay Area music, and I started working with E40 in 1995. Mm-hmm. So, and I've been rocking with him since then. And was part of creating in a major way. I mean, My Ghetto Report Card, which was his biggest record, mm-hmm. down there in Atlanta. Worked, right there with him and Little John on records like Tell Me When to Go and You and That Booty, mm-hmm. Snap Your Fingers, was all of those classics, and the hyphy movement, and it had records and production that was part of that and inspired it, and worked with so many artists from the Bay Area. So I feel like I've earned my Bay Area stripes.
You did. You definitely have.
Yeah. And I'm here now. I'm giving back by having Hiii Wav and providing a platform for artists to learn and grow their businesses and manufacturing ElectroSpit right here in Oakland.
Yeah. Let people know where they can find information about you, about ElectroSpit, and about Hiii Wav.
Yes. So if you can follow me at Bosko Live, BOSKOLIVE, that's on Instagram. ElectroSpit is ElectroSpit, ElectroSpit. And that's on Instagram, electrospit.com on the web. And Hiii Wav is HIIIWAV as in victory. Hiii Wav, like sound wave. Or so HIIIWAV, and that's Instagram, on the website. And we have free classes at Hiii Wav online all the time. And we have a space that you can come and check out our events and get free concerts, free education, and and get yourself an ElectroSpit. Get yourself an ElectroSpit at electrospit.com, baby.
I'm about to get me one and pull up to my meetings.
That's right. That's right.
Well, this has been great. I've really enjoyed talking with you. I will post all that information with where people can keep up with you in the show notes. In the meantime, if you want to keep up with me, you can find me at Kahja versus Kahja on Instagram. That's KAHJA_VS_KAHJA. Or if you want to keep up with my food adventures in the East Bay and beyond, you can find me at Hey K in the Bay on Instagram. That has been season 4's artist spotlight episode of the As Told by podcast. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.